At Columbia University in September 2007, Iran's President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad said this.
In Iran, we don't have homosexuals like in your country. We don't have that in our country.
The struggle to attain equal marriage rights for same-sex couples is nothing less than a culture war. It is a culture war on a global scale. Make no mistake about it, people are dying in this war as certainly as in any other war. This war is hell, as much hell as is any other war. In these 2 short days together, we cannot hope to win this war. This is not the end, it isn't even the beginning of the end, but it may be the end of the beginning. We have assembled a group of speakers with extensive experience covering a significant part of their professional lives. They are all deeply involved and committed to winning this war. Let us now look together at the overall picture. We are certain that coupling is far older than the 3,000 years of written history. Our earliest records show marriage as a purely legal form addressing property rights. These rights affect same-sex and opposite-sex couples equally. In primitive societies, there are very few problems confronting same-sex couples. Religions took an interest in marriage much more recently. The rise of cities has led to institutions managing things formerly done by individuals. These institutions have triggered an explosion of laws to manage and control relationships. Most of these laws were written at the behest of the monotheistic religions. Same-sex couples were either ignored or actively written out of consideration. Gender references have been inserted in a wide variety of unexpected places. Now we need broadly written legislation that overrides the tangle. In real estate, it is commonly said that the 3 most important principles are location, location, and location. Similarly, in politics, the 3 most important principles are education, education, and education. Culture wars are won when a broad segment of the population joins one side or the other, and public education is the essential step in that process. The collapse of the Soviet Union and the Eastern Bloc communist dictatorships is the most dramatic proof ever that no system can stand that defies an overwhelming majority of public opinion. There still exists considerable public opposition to equality to same-sex couples. Much of this opposition is based on misinformation about the origins of marriage and its role in human history. Much of this opposition is based on misinformation concerning the nature of these people who desire same-sex marriage. Overturning global communism required many years of political organizing and public education. Public education resulted in nearly universal suffrage for women. Public education resulted in getting the U.S. out of Vietnam. Public education brought down global communism against the fiercest opposition of all. Public education can bring down the opposition to equal marriage rights. During the years of the Warren Court in the U.S., progressives were fortunate to have their agenda implemented by the judicial system. Now that the judicial system has been packed by the opposition, there remains no real alternative to a political solution, and that means education of the public to gain votes. The specific program we have prepared is unified by the theme of public education. Successful public education cannot take just one form and still be suitable in the diverse situations this movement is facing. We hope to provide each of you with new ideas you can apply to your own efforts, no matter where you have come from. Our species has succeeded because we learn from each other. Our movement can be successful in the same way. During these 2 days of meetings and panel discussions, we will focus our attention on Africa, Europe, and the United States. Africa remains important because it is the oldest of the populated areas of the Earth, and in many ways is the most backward in terms of progress towards our goal of full equality. We very much need to understand why. Europe, by contrast, is the most progressive area, and we will be looking at what is working and what we can use elsewhere. The UK, while technically part of Europe, has often seemed a kind of bridge area between continental Europe and the United States. The British seem always to have one foot in Europe and one foot in the US. Which way the US goes may depend on the UK. Cultural norms seem to flow more easily into the US if they come from the UK. The United States is the opposite of Africa in being the area most recently populated by Western civilization, and it is yet somehow closer to Africa than to Europe in progressing towards full equality. Here we find the most heterogeneous population and the bitterest battles about marriage equality. These two things may be closely related. While most of the opposition to marriage equality seems to be unique to the area in which it is found, there remain entrenched global forces of opposition. One joint session will review the global status of the movement and will also provide us the opportunity to hear from one very powerful and persistent source of that global opposition. If we do not seek to understand the opposition, we are sure to fail. It is often said that the devil is in the details, and one of the details of marriage equality that is commonly overlooked is divorce equality. In their rush to grant marriage equality, the Canadians discovered that their legislation concerning marriage is not really unified in a few statutes, but scattered in many places. The divorce laws were written separately and were not updated at the same time as the marriage laws. As a consequence, the first same-sex divorce case that arose in Canada looked to be impossible to resolve.
Já viste aquilo? Parece impossível. De manga curta com um frio destes.